professor walks into a classroom and he says to the student, we have a quiz, surprise quiz. So they were like wondering what's going to happen. He distributed the papers, flipped upside down, and once everybody had a paper, he asked them to flip the paper and start answering the question. They looked at the paper, it was empty, only for a small black dot in the middle of the page. They were wondering what was the professor wanted from them. So, eager to do the test, they started, talking and writing the answers. After some time, he collected all the papers, all the test papers, and he started reading each paper to all the students out loud. Everyone were talking about the black dot. They were talking about the small dot. They were describing it. They were talking about its shape and the color and so on. None of them looked at the vast page that was white, was clean. This is what happened to all of us. And this is what the professor told the student. We only focus on the black dot, the small things, and we forget about the abundance that we have. For example, you are still breathing. You are still alive. You have a home, you have a job, there are so many abundance of gratitude that we tend to not think of, but rather think of most of the negative stuff that happens to us, the frustrations, the threats, the fear, the failures, or judging this and that. Look at him, or comparing. That's not good. That takes you to be pessimistic. You'll become negative. What you want to stay positive. It's healthier to stay positive. Many people say, what's this positive thinking, the power of positive thinking, and all these thousands of books and speakers are talking about positive thinking. It's irrational. It's not realistic. It's fictional. All these things people are talking about when they talk about positive, when they hear people talking about positivity. See, we are not hardwired, our brain is not hardwired to look for positive stuff. And since eons, when we were hunters and gatherers, our brain is used to, look for threats, the lion, some sort of threats that will come and attack me. So it became like a survival mechanism, fight or flight. And it was good back then, when there was real danger. But now, we used to the same thing by thinking in a negative way, fearing things that from our imagination that we create, or somebody had looked at you in a certain way, you think, oh, this guy doesn't love me, or he hates me, or whatever, and you start building this idea in your mind or thought in your mind, and it becomes reality, and you start acting as if it is the same, and sometimes your brain, and from the internal dialogue, your brain will put you in a readiness to attract such negative stuff. So, positivity is really important. Don't take it as my word. No, practice it, because in a practice you will find out. And because it's a habit, it takes a long time. Nobody is willing to put the efforts or I shouldn't say nobody, but most of the people, they are not willing to put the effort to stay positive and surround themselves. Because, you know, when you're positive, it's infectious, contagious. You get all your family, all your loved ones around you will be staying positive. The same thing in a negative way. When you are negative, you suck their energy. You make them feel bad. Whether you are a leader, whether you are in a community or a society, the people who are around you will be infectious by your attitude. And it's better to make it positive because this is one of the attractive quality. So if you want to be attractive, you have to stay positive. Now, how? How do we do it? That's the issue. See, as I said, it requires repetition. And because we are used to thinking and looking for threats, and how we change that, we have to be really intentional about it. So we have to be to put attention into it. And become an observer for our thoughts, what comes in our mind. And they say more than 80% of what comes in our mind is repeated, or things that it's not going to happen. We just, worried about it. We're thinking too much of the future, what's going to happen, especially now with the corona COVID-19 and what's happening. You are lowering your immune system. Because when you are worried for a longer time, there is your brain will ask for the hormone cortisol to be in your body, and if it's in your body for a long time, it's bad. It's not healthy. Your immune system will come down, and you'll be more eligible for that. So how do we stay positive? 3 things. We have to be attentional and intentional, and we have to be focused. Thinking or not thinking, or thinking of what you're thinking, or looking at what you're thinking, what's coming into your mind. And it's not necessarily every thought that comes in your mind, it's important and you should entertain, especially those negative ones. Many times we thought of a negative thing and we were worried, and after a week or so, it didn't happen. So we really, did not live that week in a proper way. We were worried about what will happen in the future. Some people are worried about the past. The past, you cannot do anything about it. It's gone. All you can do is the collective experience that you gathered throughout the years, throughout the failures, throughout the falls. You know better now. You're grown up, hopefully. So, future, it will come and you will treat it as it comes. Past is gone. You cannot do anything about it. All you have is the now, is the presence. So when you stay present, meaning not presence in a manner conscious, no, meaning you are aware of what's going on in your mind. One friend of ours was saying, I didn't know that I was thinking. I guess I didn't know I was thinking, except when I became an observer and I became conscious and start looking at the thoughts that comes into my mind, until I realized that why am I thinking about all these things? And you start replacing them with positive thoughts. That instead of impossible, you say, no, it's possible, I can do it. If you put the efforts and if you put your grit into it, you will prevail. What you hope for, you will find. What you hope for, you will find. So this is what positivity is all about. And it has, there is a professor of University of Pennsylvania, Slegman. He has done enormous researches on the subject of positivity with University of Michigan, with Yale University, with many researchers. And one of the research that they've done on people, and they followed these group of people, a sample for their research from the age 25 until they are 65. Some of them are pessimistic, some of them are optimistic. So what happened when they followed them and they looked at them, they found that as the pessimist age, their health deteriorate. So this is a real factor that we need to look at, and we stay positive. All religions, they ask you to stay positive, because if you are not positive, you will be negative, and if you are negative, you are victim, and if you are victim, nobody wants to be around you. You'll start complaining about the heat, about the cold, about the government, about whatever you see, and it becomes your habit to complain and to stay negative, and all you see is negativity, because this is what you put in your mind. So change that. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an action, but a habit. Aristotle. So change your habit. Change your habit and become more positive, and see how life and successful you become. You will be attracting people toward you rather than being negative. Who wants to hire somebody who's negative? Who wants to be around somebody who's negative? So stay positive and stay successful. Thank you so much. I love you all, and God bless you all.